Christmas Day 2007. A homeless man, Aaron Taylor, sits quietly on a bench outside a Phoenix mall, surrounded by the glow of holiday lights. But in an instant, his life is engulfed in flames, set on fire by a group of young men in a brutal, heartless act. 18 years have passed and his killers still haven't faced justice. Why has this horrific crime, witnessed by many, remained unsolved? Welcome to Crime Scene, where we shed light on the stories that deserve to be heard, no matter how forgotten. Today, we're stepping into the heart of Phoenix, Arizona, to uncover a tragedy that shocked a community. On Christmas Day 2007, Aaron Taylor, a 36-year-old homeless man, was brutally murdered, set on fire in front of a bustling mall. This wasn't just a crime, it was a betrayal of humanity. Yet nearly 18 years later, those responsible still walk free. How could this happen? In this video, we'll explore Aaron's life, the horrific events of that Christmas evening, and the mystery of why justice has slipped through the cracks. Stay with us as we piece together a case that's haunted Phoenix for almost 2 decades. Let's start by meeting Aaron Taylor, a man whose life was so much more than the tragedy that ended it. Aaron was 36, a familiar face around the Paradise Valley Mall in Phoenix, Arizona. With his long hair and beard, locals called him Jesus, a nickname that stuck not just for his appearance, but for the quiet kindness he showed despite his struggles. Aaron wasn't always homeless. In his early 20s, a near-fatal motorcycle accident changed everything, leaving him with injuries that his family said altered his path. He battled alcoholism, and life on the streets wasn't easy. But even then, Aaron found ways to give back. He'd sweep storefronts at the mall for free, just to feel useful. He'd save what little money he had to buy candy bars for the employees at Subway and Circle K, where he often slept on a bench nearby. To those who knew him, Aaron wasn't just another homeless man. He was a friend, someone who smiled through his hardships. But not everyone saw him that way. As we'll see, a group of young men began targeting Aaron, turning his small acts of kindness into a cruel prelude to something far worse. How could someone so gentle become the victim of such a heartless crime? Let's step back to the months leading up to that fateful Christmas Day in 2007. Aaron Taylor, a familiar figure outside the Subway restaurant near Paradise Valley Mall, wasn't just a man down on his luck. He was a target. A group of young men, aged 17 to 24, had been harassing him for weeks, maybe even months. These weren't random pranks. They were cruel, deliberate acts. Witnesses saw them duct tape Aaron to the bench where he slept, leaving him helpless as they laughed. They'd pour liquids on him, shove him around, even throw him into a nearby fountain, all while taunting him with the nickname Jesus because of his long hair and beard. Imagine that. Aaron, who greeted everyone with a smile, enduring this relentless torment in plain sight. Yet no one stepped in to stop it. Why did this harassment keep escalating, unchecked, right under the nose of a busy mall? Now let's move to December 25th, 2007. It's Christmas evening, around 6:56 p.m. The air is filled with holiday cheer, but for Aaron, it's just another night on his bench. The same group of young men shows up. This time they're drinking with him, offering alcohol in what looks like a friendly gesture. But it's a trap. Witnesses later told police they saw these men flicking lit matches at Aaron's beard, laughing as the flames danced dangerously close. Then in a moment of unthinkable cruelty, they poured alcohol over him. And with a single act, everything changed. Aaron's body was engulfed in flames, burning alive in front of the subway. Bystanders, frozen in shock, thought they were seeing a mannequin catch fire, too horrific to believe it was a human being. Who could commit such an act on Christmas Day and why? In those chaotic moments, the scene became a nightmare. A mall security guard and a Circle K employee tried desperately to smother the flames with their jackets, but the fire was too fierce. At 6:56 p.m., the first 911 call came in, a frantic voice reporting a man burning alive. When Phoenix firefighters arrived, they found Aaron straddling the concrete bench, his body consumed by flames. They fought to extinguish the fire and started CPR, but his injuries were catastrophic. Paramedics rushed him to Maricopa Medical Center's burn unit, where at 7:35 p.m., Aaron was pronounced dead. The medical examiner's report revealed a chilling truth. Aaron was alive when the fire started, inhaling smoke and flames as he burned. How could a group of young men walk away from such a crime, leaving a community to grapple with the horror? The flames were out, but the search for answers was just beginning. In the aftermath of Aaron Taylor's horrific murder on Christmas Day 2007, the Phoenix Police Department faced a crime scene that was already falling apart. Firefighters, in their desperate efforts to save Aaron, had doused the bench outside the subway with water, washing away critical forensic evidence. Potential DNA, fingerprints, anything that could have pointed directly to the killers. It was a heartbreaking setback. And then there were the witnesses. People at the mall that evening saw the group of young men, aged 17 to 24, harassing Aaron before the fire. Some even recognized them as regulars who tormented him for months. But when it came time to talk, fear took over. Many witnesses clammed up, unwilling to get involved. Why were they so reluctant to speak? Was it fear of retaliation or something else keeping them silent? To make matters worse, the investigation hit another wall. Police had names. Suspects like Nate, Max, Charlie, Donnie, and later possibly Curtis or Ramon, according to a witness. These were young men known to hang around the Paradise Valley Mall, familiar to locals. But their families moved quickly, hiring attorneys to shield them from questioning. With legal barriers in place and no physical evidence to lean on, the case began to stall. How could police know who was involved yet be unable to act? The lack of cooperation and evidence turned a clear crime into a frustrating puzzle, with pieces that just wouldn't fit together. But here's where the mystery deepens. One witness, brave enough to come forward, shared a chilling detail that suggested this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act. They claimed to have overheard one of the young men say, "Jesus had to die, it was Christmas," referring to Aaron's nickname and the holiday. Those words, cold and deliberate, point to premeditation. A planned attack, not a random act of cruelty. If true, it means Aaron's killers didn't just act on impulse. They chose to end his life in the most brutal way possible. Phoenix police have long believed they know who's responsible, but without hard evidence or cooperative witnesses, their hands are tied. What's stopping that one crucial piece of evidence from coming forward, even after all these years? Aaron Taylor's murder wasn't just a singular tragedy. It was part of a much larger, heartbreaking pattern. Every year, thousands of homeless people across the United States face violence simply for existing. A 2014 study found that 49% of homeless individuals in 5 U.S. cities had been victims of violence, compared to just 2% of the general population. In Los Angeles alone, at least 85 homeless people were murdered in 2021, the highest number ever recorded. These aren't just numbers. They're lives, like Aaron's, cut short by cruelty. And too often these cases slip through the cracks. There's a term used in some police circles, "no humans involved," to describe crimes against the homeless, as if their lives matter less. This stigma, rooted in societal bias, means cases like Aaron's often get less attention, fewer resources, and little justice. Why do we allow this cycle of violence to continue, ignoring the humanity of those most vulnerable? Now let's bring it back to Aaron. His case sits with the Phoenix Police Department's cold case unit, where detectives are still working to piece together the truth, nearly 18 years later. Despite the challenges, the case isn't closed. Police believe they know who's responsible, but they need that one critical tip to break it open. Could one phone call, one piece of evidence, finally bring justice for Aaron Taylor? Could it change everything for a man who deserves so much more? Aaron Taylor was more than a headline. He was a kind man, known for his gentle spirit, sweeping storefronts, and sharing candy bars with those who saw him as a friend. On Christmas Day 2007, his life was stolen in a brutal act, set on fire outside a Phoenix mall by a group of young men who tormented him for months. 18 years later, his case remains unsolved, a wound still open for his community and for justice itself. Despite witnesses and names like Nate, Max, or Charlie whispered to the police, the evidence slipped away and silence protected the guilty. But Aaron's story isn't over. His memory demands answers. Share Aaron's story, keep his name alive. And let us know in the comments. Why do you think justice has eluded Aaron for so long? If you want more stories like this, subscribe and hit the bell. Let's honor Aaron together.